Hey, my name is Zarina Matcha and you are watching Non-Feminist Gal. Here are the 7 main reasons why I am not a feminist. Number 1. Feminism is divisive. Feminism is one of the most divisive ideologies in the world right now. It tends to make people angry and starts arguments on all sides of the political spectrum. There are so many different factions, definitions, and subgroups of feminism that it is hard to know which feminism is the one true feminism. Feminists like Camille Paglia and Christina Hoff Sommers have very different views compared to feminists like Andrea Dworkin or Julie Bindel. And they obviously differ compared to Emma Watson or Beyonce. It seems that all feminism is equal, yet some feminism is more equal than others. I see no value in associating myself with a fundamentally divisive ideology that lacks any sort of unifying definition. Number 2. Feminism is founded on Marxism. Feminism, like Marxism, promotes revolutionary ideas. Marxism wants workers to collectively band together to overthrow the bourgeoisie. Feminism wants women to collectively band together to overthrow the patriarchy. In theory, Marxism is about looking at the economic structure of society, but in practice, it promotes revolution and state ownership. Anyone who has read the Communist Manifesto, looked at the history of Soviet socialism, or even grown up in or had families who live in socialist countries is aware that Marxism enforces the collective over the individual. This is why feminism is so powerful. It is a lobbyist group founded on collectivist principles. Just to be clear, there's nothing wrong with being a Marxist, a socialist, a communist, or even a feminist, but these are not schools of thought which I personally agree with. Number 3, a lot of the things which feminism is given credit for in society had little, if anything, to do with feminism. One example is abortion and contraceptive rights. It is thanks to scientists, not feminism, that we have the birth control pill, which was invented in the 1960s, coincidentally around the time in which the contemporary feminist movement kicked off. Same with abortion. In the USA, abortion was made legal in 1973 due to Roe versus Wade, and was viewed by a Supreme Court full of men, over which half were Republicans. This was on the grounds of privacy and a woman's right to choose, i.e. individual liberty, not collectivism. Moreover, abortion was made legal in the UK in 1967 to reduce dangerous backstreet abortion clinics. Neither of these had much, if anything, to do with feminism. Another example is women joining the workforce. During the Second World War, plenty of women joined the workforce and filled the roles that men had left behind in order to go to war. Additionally, during the Industrial Revolution, many working class women worked, while the middle and upper class women were able to enjoy the benefits of having wealthier husbands. It's rather ironic that these are the women who became feminists when they were probably the least oppressed compared to poorer women or women of colour. Number 4, patriarchy. Patriarchy theory is highly integral to the contemporary feminist movement and is what distinguishes the post-60s feminist movement from the early women's movements such as the suffragettes. Most feminists believe that women are systematically oppressed by a patriarchal society, yet they ignore the nuances within this. Patriarchal societies evolved during the agrarian age and were founded to control female fertility and male servitude. Men were expected to marry a woman in order to have sex and then spend the rest of their lives providing for that woman, while the woman was only expected to be sexual with that one man forever and provide him with children. This was about division of labor and included hardships for both women and men. Furthermore, patriarchal societies have been built upon the disposability of men and the protection of women. Only a small minority of men in the West have ever held any political power, yet the majority of married women have held power in the home. Mothers have an enormous impact in infant development, usually more so than fathers. Before feminism, women used to appreciate men and appreciated the roles of fathers, husbands, and male acquaintances. But feminism has spun these narratives that claim that patriarchy was invented to treat women as second-class citizens, which is an utter lie. Patriarchal societies were there to protect women from war and from doing physically demanded jobs. Needless to say, I'm not denying the fact that patriarchal societies did not provide hardships for men and for women. I literally just asserted this. I'm simply saying that the nuances in patriarchal societies were nowhere near as simple as saying that they were created as a way to oppress women and turn women into second-class citizens. With the advent of science, technology, and the rise of the Industrial Revolution, there is no need for modern societies to be patriarchal anymore. But this evolution is not thanks to feminism. Plus, while I cannot speak for other countries, the UK is one of the least patriarchal societies in the world today. The Global Citizen marked the UK as the 9th best country in the world to be a woman in 2021. There is no legal right a man has in England that a woman does not have. We have free contraception thanks to the NHS. Girls in the UK are more likely to do well in school and go to university than boys. And child custody and divorce greatly sides in favour of women. Number 5. Feminism is unnecessary. The feminism of the 1960s and 70s is often credited for giving women more opportunities in the workplace, equal pay, and reproductive rights, even though most of these things came from the rise of science and technology in the digital era. In the 1990s, feminism softened and became more about emphasizing girl power and femininity, and now post-2010s feminism has returned to the radical and misandric vitriol that was espoused between the 60s and 80s. Slogans like "the future is female" are clearly female supremacist slogans. Feminist groups have campaigned about some rather ridiculous things in recent years, from wanting to ban the word bossy, to constantly citing the non-existent gender wage gap, to claiming that women still have a long way to go in order to achieve equality, when Western women have more rights and opportunities than most women in the world. Most recently, British Labour MP Stella Creasy campaigned to make misogyny a hate crime. This is absurd. England is one of the least misogynistic countries in the world. Feminists are slowly running out of things to complain about because most Western societies are already egalitarian and are slowly becoming more gynocentric thanks to feminism. Number 6. Men and women are naturally different. Between the 1950s and 1980s, French philosopher Michel Foucault pioneered post-structural ideas of humanity. Feminists like Judith Butler, Kate Millett, and Rita Mae Brown, among others, lobbied for the false narrative that gender is socially constructed and that men and women are the same. There's nothing wrong with having alternative perspectives on things, but in my opinion, gender is one thing that should most certainly be taught from a scientific perspective. Yet most gender studies courses teach that gender roles are all the result of social construction and that society has reinforced harmful and toxic narratives about men and women because the patriarchy oppresses women. This is not only insane, it's entirely unscientific and sounds like religious indoctrination. Plenty of neuroscientists, psychologists, and biologists like Deborah Soh, Richard Dawkins, and Luann Brizardine have done extensive research into gender differences between men and women. Personally, I would rather listen to a qualified biologist when it comes to gender, not feminists making assertions based on pure theory. Yes, society can and does enforce some gender stereotypes, I am not denying this, but it is certainly far less in modern Western societies than it ever has been. Plus, a lot of the unique differences between men and women explain why we make certain decisions. In countries where women have more equality, we are still more likely to choose non-STEM based professions. One Swedish study interviewed over 2,000 teenagers and found that boys and girls are still choosing careers based around traditional gender roles. This isn't because of sexism, it's because men and women are naturally different, and this is not a bad thing. Granted, I don't believe that we are hugely different. I believe that our differences are more so here. We are a little bit different, in some things more so than others, but to deny these differences is foolish and unscientific. Number 7. Feminism has historically ignored poor women, working class women, and women of colour. Feminism has fundamentally been about the struggles of white Anglophonic women. Even early women's pioneers, like the suffragettes, all focused on white, upper middle class women, and at times espoused racist sentiments towards black people. Cultural attitudes to gender differ depending on where you go. In pre-colonial Africa, much of the tribes were matrilineal and spiritual focused. Plus, during America in the 1960s and 70s, African Americans were fighting for rights as they had experienced actual systemic oppression, which white middle-class American women had not. This is why many black women opted for womanism, a spiritually focused philosophy coined by Alice Walker, which stands in solidarity with black men, rather than wanting to divide men and women against each other. Intersectional feminism has tried to correct this, but unfortunately what it's done is create more false narratives based on the lie that women have been oppressed. No one told women that they were oppressed or viewed as second-class citizens until feminism came along. White, Western, upper and middle-class women have been some of the most privileged members of post-industrial society. Ultimately, I reject feminism because I find it to be sexist, divisive, and unscientific. Feminism is not 100% bad, as few ideologies are, and once again, as I've said in a previous video, I'm well aware that there are many self-described feminists who do reject some or all of these claims. But overall, I see no good reason to call myself a feminist, as there are far too many things within feminism that I disagree with. When women are sexist towards men, we call it feminism. But when men are sexist toward women, it's called misogyny. Thank you for watching, and feel free to join my Facebook group, Liberals Against Feminism, to further discuss feminism with like-minded people. Also, do let me know in the comments what some reasons are for why you personally disagree with feminism, and if you are a feminist, please let me know what your thoughts are on the reasons in which I listed. Thank you.